quasars have the highest potential to become the hottest object in the universe. This is because unlike other very hot objects, quasars can fuel themselves with heat, and it does that very efficiently. Quasars are basically just supermassive black holes that are conveniently next to vast quantities of stars, and have sucked so many of them, that their accretion disks glow thousands of times brighter than the Milky Way. But what if one day for some reason you decided that you should take some scenic cruising around your nearest quasar? Well, in today's video, I will give you some advice for a safe and relaxing voyage. First of all, the weather around quasars will typically be very windy, with winds reaching up to 1/5 the speed of light. But don't worry, the winds usually don't get that intense. Typically, you shouldn't get within 20 astronomical units of the quasar, otherwise you would be experiencing winds of around 1/6 the speed of light. In order to avoid being blown off course, make sure that your ship does not catch any wind. To do this, make your ship rotate at extremely high speeds. It will have to rotate at least 1.32052226 e plus 40 times per second in order to keep the ship on course, assuming that your ship weighs 198,412.7 trillion tons. This is because when objects are spinning rapidly, the mass is constantly being displaced, making forces less able to act on them. But how would you get enough fuel to do this? Well, you could use the method I explained in last week's video, and harness the extremely powerful winds to power engines. Then, you could just place engines on both sides of your ship facing opposite directions, and your ship would start to spin. Make sure that when spinning, every part of your ship is being displaced, including the center, to make sure that no winds can act on it. Then, on the bottom of the wings, place more engines facing backwards in order to make the ship move forward. Do not build anything in the center of the ship, only place things on the sides, so they will be affected more by the rotation. But how will you keep the ship from instantly turning into plasma from the million-degree heat? Well, there are no atoms in the world that would stay solid at such temperatures, so you would have to resort to making your ship out of neutrons, the only material which would withstand such pressure and heat. That was the reason why I said the ship weighed 198,412.7 trillion tons. You can collect this material from neutron stars, or from them yourself by creating a huge ball of plasma gas using fission and then stopping once it reaches around 1.5 solar masses. But all this material does not stop the inside of the ship from being hot. So inside the neutron layer, add at least 290 layers of helium-3 coolers around every part of the ship. Do this by creating a grid of columns of coolers that the outside plasma air will have to pass through before reaching you. Helium-3 coolers are basically just a sort of perpetual motion machine where helium-3 gets naturally sucked into some helium-4 then vaporizes back into helium-3. Except because doing this spends energy, each cycle will suck heat out of the air. And for your scenic viewing, the best option for you is to send a cameraman outside into the plasma, where its indestructible properties will allow them to stay alive and stream the footage to you. And yeah, that is all you need to know if you want to visit a quasar for your next vacation. Hopefully my calculations were at least not off by infinity, and see you next time. Bye.